Welcome back to the Tide 55 YouTube channel. In today's video, myself and Tommy return. It's been a couple of weeks since we've done this sit-down talk show. It hasn't got a name yet if you haven't figured that one out. But we're going to be talking about a recent project here at Tide 55 where we actually created a podcast for our podcast client Ryan Hartley, who had Matthew McConaughey, a Hollywood actor, as a guest on his podcast. In this video, we give you some ins and outs of exactly what you can expect from our podcast creation service. But just before we get into it, please do drop a like on it, subscribe to Tide 55 if you are new. And without further ado, let's get right into it. We hope you guys are doing well. And if you've missed this show, to the few people that watch it,
my mum. Maybe your mum as well.
God knows, maybe. But if you guys have missed it, then we're back, and we'll be back for the foreseeable future now, won't we?
Yeah, Wednesdays we film these. When do they go out?
Normally on a Friday.
Friday. So when these videos we're doing together are going to be, well, you tell them what they're going to be about.
Giving you guys a bit of insight to almost the office chat.
Because we're making a lot of videos these days. We're making more stuff.
There is a lot of content. When I say the amount of videos that we're having to make each week right now, in terms of the client stuff and our stuff as well, there's a lot on. There's a lot to do. So we're kind of just going to talk to you guys about some of the insight and talk to you about the exciting projects going on within Tide 55. Now, recently, there's been a new show launched, the Tide 55 show. If you haven't already, then make sure you go and check out the first 2 episodes. It's where the team get together every Thursday morning.
Yep.
So we're filming that again tomorrow.
Yep.
Every Thursday, and we just talk about some of the latest things going on in the online world and in the marketing world as well. Last episode was TikTok and the Facebook ban in Australia and how TikTok can go e-commerce, and talking all about that.
Little moons.
And the little moons. I saw you on your story as well, rinsing me. I've never tried a little moon. I've never tried a little moon, and Tommy's out here on his story making it as if I'm driving around looking for little moons in Tesco's.
You left it in the edit, mate. It was there for all to use.
There was a few things we left out of that edit as well,
true,
and that could have been...
Yeah, it's on your computer, I'm sure.
Yeah, that could have been a violation to myself in a whole nother level, but we'll call that 1-0 to you for now. But I'll be coming back for you.
You've got the advantage, I think, because you can literally edit.
Maybe one day we try little moves.
Maybe.
If we
try and get some, if they're even real. Are they even real? Who knows?
Funny story.
Do you know anyone that's had one?
My girlfriend literally got them at the weekend. On Saturday, but I wasn't there.
Your girlfriend got them?
Here
he goes again.
I wasn't there. I was not there. She got them, she ate them, and she said it tastes disgusting.
So she didn't even save you one?
Nah. The box is in her car.
I still don't believe that it's real. I think that's all a lie.
Nah, I just don't understand. Anyway, if you want to see our real opinion and our, sort of off the bat opinion about ice cream balls that have, quite literally taken the TikTok by storm, then you can check that full episode out of the Tide Show. There'll be a link in the description for you to go and do that. We mentioned that there's been a lot of videos going on, and we have had some rather exciting videos in the last,
about as exciting as it gets.
Couple of weeks.
Really?
Yeah, from an editing standpoint as well, with this style of content, it was almost like not an edit. It was more, you're watching this and this is you're really interested in listening to the content, and of course the content was this guy Matthew McConaughey, Hollywood actor, Oscar winner. Mad. And he was a guest on our client Ryan Hartley's podcast, so the Always Better Than Yesterday podcast, which we've been editing now. Well, we've been editing that for about 6 months. You've been on it for about 3, and he's worked hard. Like, this video is going to be, we're talking about the project itself and some of the things that we do within that service. But let's just give Ryan a shout out here. He did really well to build his podcast to the level where he's able to even put across the possibility of someone like Matthew McConaughey being a guest. He got it right. They said yes. It worked for them at that time, and that whatever, it happened. And credit to him, and well done for doing that. Do you remember when I said to you, the news of
you're going to be editing?
I remember it. It was
you're a bit of a Wolf of Wall Street fan.
Literally, it was. So we found out. I think it was around, I want to say, first week of February, wasn't it? I think it was my birthday that I was sat just there on the green chair. Kendall was sat there and you were sat here, and we were just having a meeting. We talk about sort of what's the objectives for the week for each client, and we spoke about the first trailer
that we had to make. At that point, we weren't sure if it was going to happen or not.
Yeah, we were still unsure.
Right. Yeah. And literally, at first the name didn't jump out to me massively, and then you started saying what films he was in, and then you said Wolf of Wall Street, and I was like,
and you went
Wolf of Wall Street. My ears started twitching, and it was about a month before that when I was having some lunch downstairs. I was watching the scene of the in the Wolf of Wall Street, the lunch scene of is it Leonardo DiCaprio?
Yeah, Leonardo DiCaprio, yeah.
And obviously Matthew McConaughey, when they're talking about most sort of like memorable bit of that and favourite line is when they're talking about I think Leonardo DiCaprio goes, and then if you're making the clients money as well, and he just goes, fuck the clients, and you know, he goes, it's fairy dust, it's not real, and all this, like, honestly, that was mad, and I was like, I'm going to be editing a podcast.
Where
and then he's talking about what life is like on the Wolf of Wall Street, and you know, we'll keep this PG anyway for what he talks about in this. But yeah, it was when we got that news of we're going to be editing this content, it fills you with just pure excitement, you know, because that's probably the biggest name I've ever had in my editing software, to put it straight. And that was, I think it was a great project overall. We're going to talk about that in detail a little bit more, but overall the podcast for Ryan has done exceptionally well.
That's interesting to talk about, I think, because anyone watching this that has their own platform, whether that's a podcast, whether that's YouTube, or a bit of both, and they're dabbling, the key ingredient is you've got to be making regular episodes. That's like the only sort of prerequisite we ask for, is you've got to be making regular episodes, otherwise you're not going to be able to afford us. Because one of the things that has happened for Ryan is we took over his YouTube channel. This video, obviously it's going to be more popular than some of the other ones. It's nothing against any of his other guests. There's some big name authors and whatnot. But this guy's a Hollywood movie star and everyone sort of knows who he is. But his channel has increased in subscribers, viewership obviously. Yeah. But you know the stats and the intricacies more than I do. So what sort of things happened there?
So to put it straight, if you watching have a podcast and you upload your podcast to YouTube and various other platforms as well, specifically on YouTube, it's always one of the most important factors for the YouTube algorithm to be getting good watch time on your videos. If the watch time on your videos is strong, the video will perform better, to put it straight. So for example, with Ryan's podcast for the Matthew McConaughey one, the watch time was something like, I want to say it was 11 or 12 minutes more than usual.
And they're all considerably long. Like usually they're between half an hour and an hour, aren't they?
Yeah, I'd say the average time for a Brian Hartley podcast is about 45 minutes. And people staying interested for that amount of time, that's definitely played a massive part in the video performing quite well on YouTube for him.
Yeah. What about the way we scheduled it as a premiere?
So, as you may know as well, on YouTube there is the premiere option, which is, I think it came into play maybe about a year or two ago now, and some people use it, some people don't, but it's basically a way that you can live stream your video before it goes live as a video. So we had this Matthew McConaughey podcast go live as a premiere, which was the first podcast that we've tried to premiere on Ryan's channel. And I remember I called you the morning it was going live, and I said, "Have you seen the premiere numbers already?" People were getting involved in the comment section. It was already it was already the most liked podcast that
before it even started.
Yeah, before it had even gone live, it was the most liked podcast since we've been doing Ryan's podcasts. And you know, overall, it was just there was just a real good feel to it. But I also feel like what plays a massive part into that was, I think we got the build up. I think we got that spot on. We worked really closely with Ryan on figuring out trailers. So for example, we had the actual trailer, which was on the day or the day before the podcast. The podcast went live on the Wednesday, and we had a trailer go live on the Sunday, Monday, and the Tuesday, and the Wednesday as well, which I think really sort of gathered a bit of momentum. Ryan then was able to put these trailers, as well as the link to the actual premiere. He was able to attach that to an email or any form of message. He could then send that out to his podcast community and the podcast listeners. And that then almost got that audience to transition from whatever platform they listened to before. They've then also come over to the YouTube, as well as a lot of new subscribers have found him. And I was reading through the comments as well, and the feedback was just insane. You know, there's one comment that stood out to me was one of the mini clips we uploaded. which was taking out a segment of the podcast. You guys have probably seen it, where say the guest is talking about, for example, we had one of Matthew McConaughey's ones was talking about loving yourself before you can love someone else. We put that live as a video. It was sort of like a 4-minute section of the podcast, and I remember I saw one comment on there saying that this was one of the things that stood out to this viewer in the video, and he was really pleased that it was then uploaded as a separate clip. And I think it also said that he'd watched the full episode like 2 times.
Yeah, but I think it's important as well for people watching that the level of attention to detail and quality and energy that we brought to this episode is not how we usually work it with Ryan's podcast. We made a big deal out of it because we want to support him. He's a client and we know how much of an opportunity this is.
Yeah.
If anyone's watching this and they think, oh, well, that's great for my podcast, if you want us to do that every week, that's our absolute top premium package. You know, that's only for, I'm going to just say it as it is, Matt, that's only for people who are financially comfortable with their podcast channel. So it's not necessarily that you're making money from the podcast channel, but your business needs to be connected to that channel so that you're able to spend and invest on our services, because they're not free and they're not cheap at that level. We don't want 10 podcast clients coming through. We want 1 or 2 that are serious about this, that want to show up, want that. If you're frustrated because you're putting out this content and you feel like no one's seeing it, or you feel like your listener base isn't growing fast enough, that's what we can help you with.
Yeah.
If you want to see your content going out, looking awesome, looking sexy, looking slick across different social media platforms, but you don't want to sit there and have to learn how to do it and do it, then that's where we come in, you see. So this sort of thing is going to fall very flat on people who've not got much of an audience.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to be too much. You're too out of your depth, really. We need people, we want to talk to people who are serious about their podcasting in 2021.
Yeah, that's it.
Serious applicants only.
We'd also want you to know that we're not just going to expect you to send a podcast and then we just do it. You know, we'll work closely with you. You know, you wouldn't just have a phone call with Tommy or a Zoom call with Tommy and work out, you know, what it is you want. You're going to have that, you know, for example, now me and Ryan are in contact and we figure things out to exactly how he wants it. You know, so you'd have your own sort of input to the creative standpoint with the support of and with the majority of input of our professional touch.
Yeah.
Someone watching this right now has a form of interest of, you know, investing into Tide 55 for their podcast creation. What could be the expected process of that? So everything's on board. The podcast is ready. A podcast is filmed. What's going to be that process?
It's very easy. That video file gets sent across to us, and the rest is where the magic happens. That video file then gets combed through. We take out any bits of the video that shouldn't be in there, you know, when the connection fails and you have to start again, or where there's, someone says something they shouldn't, or there's lots of stuttering. We can take that out, clean the file up, comb through it. Once that's done, obviously the client has to want that, some don't, we can then dress the full episode so that it's looking great with great templated backgrounds, chopping and changing the zooms coming in and out of each person who's speaking, and have that episode go up on YouTube as the main form content, the long form episode. From that, we then take the extended highlights, which is under 10 minutes, somewhere between 6 and 10, and that way we know we've got that audience covered, so more people can watch more of it without having to invest a whole half an hour or a whole hour of their life like they would have to if they watched it on YouTube. And then we take the mini clips, which act as little fish hooks that go out that get people interested, and at a bare minimum they get the association, so they see you and they see the headline and it's, what do we think about the environment? And then they go, oh, there's so-and-so and the environment. So they make that association again, which, like you said, is branding, which then, if we get it right, not only makes a dent, helps you with your plans of audience growth and business, but hopefully they want to go and check out the full episode.
It's also understanding the algorithm of YouTube as well. I've frustratedly learnt it for a long, long time. I still don't know all of it, and I'm fully aware of that, but I understand the basics, and I think that's important. For example, on my personal YouTube channel, I have a few videos that have done quite well, to be fair. I think on my channel itself, I've racked up, I think just shy of 2 million views now.
Cool.
I think it's like 1.8 or something like that. But, that is there's proof in the pudding, essentially. If you wanna give it a trial of, having your podcast created by an agency and having that attention to detail and having that widespread, posting across multiple platforms, then we can offer that.
So if you're here and you're watching this video, then it means that you are interested in finding out more about how we can help you with your podcast channel. All you got to do now, once you've made your mind up whether you want to apply or not, is fill in the form underneath this video, and we will get back to you personally to find out how we can serve you and whether we're a good fit for each other. Thanks for watching. We look forward to talking soon.